How's
How's
it
it going?
going?
Good.
Jake.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
I don't really drink
Um,
Coke.
how's it going?
Good. I started to grab my water and start drinking it because we started talking about drinks.
Did
Uh,
we? Oh, Cokes. I was like, in my head, I was thinking like boozy drinks.
no. But speaking of boozy drinks, I'm
Yeah.
still thinking about that boozy drink that we had at the bar.
Oh, at the Broadway bar, Broadway
Mm-hmm.
sing-along bar.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I still haven't posted videos and pictures from that night, but I will before this episode airs. So if you want to see them, go to our Instagram and
Yeah.
you'll see me dressed up a little bit like Six and a very
The
cool
musical Six, in
spine
case anybody.
gravity. Hey, if they
The
listen
musical
to
Six,
the
in case
podcast, they
anybody
know
didn't
all
get
about
that
it.
point, that point of reference. Then, if you didn't, go back to season one,
Season 1, episode 3 or
something like that.
2.
We should have made it episode 6. What's wrong with us?
That was dumb. Go back,
Anyway,
change it, rearrange. Um,
go back. Let's change it all.
I know. But they had these really cool cocktails themed for the Broadway. What were you drinking?
I was exclusively drinking the Hamilton Highball, which I am very glad I made that choice after tasting that last one of yours.
Yes, I tried 3 different ones, but one of them was this Osmopolitan. It's like a green Cosmo, and then they do this like smoke bubble, and then they give you like a little wand to poke it, and the smoke
Hmm.
just kind of
Yeah,
it's a really neat effect. And so there's a video that I'll post, and Define Gravity is actually playing in the background. Um,
it's amazing.
along with 100, women screaming the lyrics.
Screaming, screaming the lyrics.
That's
Like 100
basically,
women and 3 guys
yeah.
and a drag queen.
Yep. That was the vibe. I think some of the bar staff were male, so
I was counting him.
but but they were not belting it.
No,
But
exactly.
it was a fun time. It was if something like that ever pops up in your vicinity, ours was just a pop-up bar, so it's gone
Yeah,
now.
I think
But
it's
it
in
was
Texas
so much
now.
fun.
Yeah, I think it's in Texas now. And I don't think it's the first time it's been here, to be honest. Like, I
Yeah.
think the pop-up has like been here before.
Yeah.
So,
And I know there are bars like that that exist. Like I know there's one in Palm Springs. It's
mhm,
a gay bar, so
yeah.
ladies,
But it's
don't
not
go
as
if you're not
like,
invited.
specific, right? It's just a bar that plays videos from musicals and everyone sings along. It's not like a themed bar where there's like the jail cell
Exactly.
from Chicago and a stage from Moulin Rouge and like, it's
Yes.
yeah, it's just a bar
And
where they
people are,
play
there's some people
videos.
singing, but it's not like people are going there to sing
No, it's
specifically.
just a lot of people are scream singing along with a video.
Yeah.
Whereas this was like much more intentional, specific, like karaoke-ish vibes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
So it was a good time.
It was great. It was super fun.
We have
Super fun.
we have a lot planned. I was going over my plans for the summer, trying to schedule things in with my daughter's best friend and her
Mhm.
family, and realizing that like most of my summer is booked,
Yeah.
and half of
Yeah.
that is with you.
I have some plans. I don't have a lot in July yet.
Same.
I,
I'm hoping it stays a little chill for July.
yeah. I have a few things in June and like two things so far in August, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we just put something on the books for August, didn't we? Did we? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I don't know. I have
I
a lot
don't
on
remember.
the books for August.
I
Well,
know Cyndi
yeah,
Lauper is in August, and then I think there's something
not with
else.
me though.
Maybe it's not with you.
No.
I don't know. I can't remember.
You have other friends?
I mean, I'm really sorry to say it, but yes.
Technically, they're older friends too.
Yeah, it's so funny. You're one of my newer besties,
None of them made
even
the
though we've been friends for like 10 years now.
podcast.
But anyway.
Oh man. All righty.
Anyway,
Well,
speaking of best friends. I guess, and old friends. We today are talking about a podcast where the hosts are three friends from college.
Mhm.
That was my segue. Um,
Good segue. I was at first I was curious where you were going to go with Friends. There's, there's a lot of friends in it
a
as
lot of friends
well.
with benefits in this in what we're talking about. Not that they are friends with benefits, not that the hosts are, but
No.
anyway, let's just get to the point. We're
Mhm.
talking about the podcast My Dad Wrote a Porno, which probably most of you have heard of because it is like an award-winning it's sensation internet super famous podcast. It's like one I feel like it's one of the podcasts that like kind of put podcasting like super into pop culture and like took it from just like a niche like thing that
Yeah.
like if you were like perpetually online that you talked about, but like I think it made podcasting like kind of I don't know. Anyway,
Popular?
yeah, like mainstream, I
Yeah, it
guess.
became
Even
much
though it's a
more of a
very niche
thing.
topic, I feel like it made it really
Yeah.
mainstream.
But
Um,
if you haven't experienced it, just before you listen to this, go and at least listen to a
pause.
few episodes.
Pause, go and listen because
Yeah.
like the ridiculousness of it all will not make any sense.
Yeah. We're
Like
gonna
what
sound
we've
like crazy people if you don't know what we're talking about.
legit because Rocky Flintstone is a crazy person.
Totally crazy. But also, fair warning,
Okay,
this episode is
sorry.
explicit.
Yeah. And also, we are misusing the word crazy. But
Yeah.
anyway, their podcast is called My Dad Wrote a Porno. It was released October 4th, 2015, and it aired through December 12th, 2022. And I think right now, I don't know if they're still doing them, but for a while they came back and they were doing like highlights, best of, unaired clips. So they were doing some compilation episodes every so often. It's hosted on Acast, and it is based on the self-published series Belinda Blinked by Rocky Flintstone, who is Jamie Morton's dad. He's one of the hosts, along with Alice Levine and James Cooper. Um, it so the summary. Sorry, I was about to say where you could get it, which I don't know why. Oh, because I think I saw just like from Spotify on your on your notes that I'm about to read from.
I literally borrowed the summary
Yeah.
from Spotify.
The
So
summary is from Spotify, but it's a good one. Imagine if your dad wrote a dirty book. Most people would try to ignore it and pretend it never happened, but not Jamie Morton. Instead, he's decided to read it to the world in this award-winning comedy podcast with the help of his friends James Cooper and Alice Levine, who I can never not say Alice similar vigor Levine. Like I can never not say it that way. Anyway, Jamie will be reading a chapter each episode and discovering more about his father than he ever bargained for. So the book that Rocky Flintstone wrote is called Belinda Blinked, and it's a series of books, all available on Amazon, I believe. They were digital, but I think since the popularity of the podcast have become printed, maybe. Um, anyway, so the Belinda Blinked books are about a modern story of sex, erotica, and passion. How the sexiest salesgirl in business earns her huge bonus by being the best at removing her high heels. Belinda Blumenthal is a sales executive extraordinaire at Steele's Pots and Pans, always making the sale while still making time to explore herself and everyone else she encounters sexually. So, also, like, don't listen to this with kids around,
no,
by the way.
nope. Don't listen to it at work.
Don't listen to it at work. Don't listen to the don't listen to My Dad Wrote a Porno at work. Uh don't listen to it while you're driving either, as I learned when I was crying tears of laughter and driving on the freeway. It's not a healthy combination. Um, but anyway, you can get it on Acast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or anywhere else you listen to your podcasts. So yeah,
Go now. We found out about it um,
at work.
at work. A friend of ours who we were working with at the time, Kimberly, kudos, thank you,
Shout out.
um, introduced it to us, and we just ate it. I think like how many seasons were probably out by then? Two or three? At
I don't
least
even
two, I think.
know. It was like I think like three maybe or maybe two and we were like still listening when three came, like we were starting when three came out. Like, I don't know, but it,
We were still in the pure Rocky.
yeah.
So
He,
like
what
by
was
the
it
time,
Michael Sheen said? The apocryphal texts or
yeah.
something?
And if you listen to their podcast, there's like bonus episodes where they'll have guest like celebrities come on and like just talk about the podcast. Uh,
Like we're talking like Elijah Wood,
yeah,
Emma Thompson,
Martin
Michael
Sheen.
Sheen, like just yeah,
Martin Sheen. I always mix up the Sheens.
Michael.
Michael Sheen.
Martin Sheen is West Wing.
Yep. And I do that a lot. I told you I mix up the Sheens.
Martin
But no,
Sheen,
yeah.
Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, American, West Wing, Young
Hmm.
Guns,
But
Bleak.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
when they first launched the podcast, I think Rocky had written three of the books already,
Hmm.
or somewhere
Yeah.
around. So by the time they caught up, now he was starting to write books after the pod. So I feel like he was a little influenced by the
Yeah.
podcast
Because
and
the
the
books
reception
definitely
to it.
took a turn, right? They
Yes.
became like there was never not a through line of a story, but a lot of it was just like story that got you to the next sex scene, I feel like.
Yes.
It was not this like hugely plot driven narrative. It was like a very sex driven plot, I
Yeah.
guess let's say. And then as like the podcast got popular and he was still writing the books, like then all of a sudden we have like spy plots and like explosions and deaths and you know
Was it
adopted
Dish?
children and like it's just like bananas all
Yeah.
over the place.
It went a little it went in another direction. But in the early years, it was literally so like the first episode is she's in her interview. And then of course she has to take off all of her clothing and her interview and she nails
In
it.
her job interview, it's
Yes.
fine.
And she nails it. And
Of
them.
course.
And
How
gets the
long have you
job.
been
And
waiting to
then
say that?
it's just her like with her, her fellow coworkers,
Hmm.
with people that she's selling the pots and pans to. This is she steals pots and pans to the company. Um, so she has like
So
a
sorry.
sales she's a sales director, I think, and she's got like a host of sale people under her
She's got
sometimes
like a team.
over her, on her, in her.
It is so funny. Like in this new format that we're in with Zoom, I feel like you're explaining it to me. And I'm just like, yeah, I know.
It's there
Because like it feels like we're like in a meeting at work. And I'm just like, yeah, I know.
for the benefit of the audience.
I know. It's just so different than like sitting next to each other looking at a camera.
Yes.
Anyway, it's just funny. I just had this moment of like, yeah, oh wait.
I wasn't talking to you.
I know. I remembered.
Oh man.
Anyway, yeah, so job interview and then like she has to go her job is to sell steels pots and pans in like a very door to door person in person personal kind of way.
Yeah. She goes all the
Like
way
as
to
opposed to just
Texas.
like online wholesale.
Mhm.
She's going and convincing people. Like there's one scene where she is giving a presentation at the O2 arena, which is
It's
like
like
a
hot
huge
underneath all of the
like stadium, and everyone in the audience has a a tin walk under their seat for that
the tin walk.
as like a giveaway.
But I mean, and just to show like the scenarios, like I think part of it, like the smallish man, was he the one with the miking her up?
No,
And
no,
so of
not Jim,
course
but like the smallish man from reception.
the smallish man from reception.
Yeah, and the youngish man.
Yes, the youngish man. So there was some sort of a youngish
Yeah.
man, smallish man that
Yeah.
like
Oh, he
mic'd her
that was
up and
his.
like feels her up while he so it's like all of
Yeah.
these scenarios like
That was
come
the description though of everyone. Youngish,
yeah.
smallish. But
How
yeah,
did they describe the Duchess?
I don't know, but I remember her voice.
Yes.
Belinda.
You know what I always thought of when they talked about the Duchess is did you ever see it was like a cartoon? I watched it. My little sister liked it. And so I would watch it with her. It was like something in Home for Imaginary Friends.
Oh, I feel like I've heard of
And there
it.
was like a character named, I think she was even the Duchess or the Countess or something like that, but she was kind of like a Picasso drawing.
I like vaguely
And that's how
remember,
I
but I
kind of
don't.
always pictured the Duchess.
Oh, that's funny. I've always pictured her in like one of those like white, big, like wide brim, like sun hat almost, but like white and like a white, like glamorous suit, but
Yeah.
not like a business suit, but just like, with the jacket and the vest underneath and like flowing pants.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I will say, but speaking of like the Duchess and the voices, like Jamie Morton, incredible, incredible voice actor. Like he gave voices to every single character. Every single voice was unique. Every single voice like had the its own personality.
Yeah.
And he would have to go through like multiple voices in every episode, like
Yeah.
because they would be having conversations with each other.
Oh, yeah. Especially
Yeah.
as it became a much more complex storyline. And the
Hmm.
funnest thing too is when you would have these characters that would keep returning and all of these like recurring, like towards the end, there's Bish,
Oh my God, Bish.
very old. I
I
don't
just
even,
envision him like
is he
old
German?
and like
He's German.
balding, but with like long white hair and like kind of like Danny DeVito penguin looking, but like with big
Yes.
lips. I don't know
Hmm.
why. And like when they're like big and wet.
Yes. I always pictured him as being a little like moist around the mouth area.
Gross.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, we can go on and on about like all these characters, and we will some more too. But I think we kind of want to talk the reason why we wanted to talk specifically about this podcast, um, which is
Thought you
sexual.
were sorry, I thought you were gonna say.
That was that was your opening.
I was like, where are you going, girl?
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we wanted to talk about this podcast because it is super sex positive, it is very sex forward, and it's not embarrassed about anything. Like, even as much as Rocky is wrong about a lot,
mostly female anatomy.
it's incredibly wrong about like
Oh,
almost all female anatomy. I don't know how the man has children,
I have to
but
say this
oh
quote
yeah,
because this is what highlights how bad his anatomy is. Okay, here we go.
you know
Slowly,
where you're
this is in book two. Slowly, inch by inch, Jim continued his penetration of Belinda's vagina. He felt her cervix muscles expand as he pushed through to her ovaries.
not how it works at all.
Yeah. And the funniest part is like through all of this, you've got, Jamie, and then who's obviously a man, or not obviously, is a man.
He's a man.
And then you've got um
Alice.
James,
Oh, James.
also a
Yeah.
man, and then Alice.
Yes.
You've got this lone woman, and then the funniest part too is then you've got James Cooper, who often talks about he's like, I don't know anything about women's anatomy. I've never seen a vagina. I've never touched a vagina. And
It was so cute because a fan wrote in and was just like, I'm so glad I'm not the only virgin. Like, James talking about how he's never seen a vagina and blah, 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 blah. And James like, hold up. Let's clear this up. I am not a
you
virgin.
misunderstand.
I'm gay.
So,
Yeah.
but then you've got Alice who like often like stands up and is like, "Excuse me, no,
He's so
that's not how it
infuriated
works."
all the time. He's just like, this works.
Yeah. So all of Rocky's misinformation um, or over exaggeration of the female body, um, it,
Like
it,
complete fake news
it
about how it works.
fake news. He's still so like unashamed about everything and the whole like I
Yeah.
mean, it's
It's
like every sex act
It's
is
kind of like, yeah,
described in
what wrong?
detail.
Learn that you can't get to the ovaries. It's
Yeah,
fine. It's just all because I mean, like almost everyone is queer in some way, shape, or form. Every Everyone is totally liberated. Like there's a scene in the first season. There's a garden party with like a tombola, which if you don't know what a tombola is, it's kind of like bingo,
Yeah, it's
like
like
where they
rotating drum.
circle the thing and the numbers pop out or whatever, and or they draw from the basket. But there's a scene where like there's a maze and it's like outdoors and muddy and dirt and somehow like everyone's just naked and it's like just but it's fine and there's no body shaming, there's no any of it.
Yeah.
I mean
Well,
maybe a
don't
little
they?
shaminess with Bish
Yeah, because it's
because
Belinda,
he's gross.
Giselle, and who's the other one?
Hello.
Bella, the Glee team. They are selected from the tombola, and so they get like trussed up on the hedges of a maze, and then all these like cast of characters just like comes through and like bangs all of them. Women,
I'm
men, like old, young, all of them.
I'm just thinking from about like the Glee team stories. There's a thing where they're talking about they're sitting in a bar at the Pentra,
The Petra.
like Petra,
Petra?
Pen,
I,
Pentra,
is it a real
wherever it is.
place?
No, but it's like a bar, like by the airport or
Yeah.
something, or like they have to get to the airport from wherever this bar is. And Alice is like, this is the most unbelievable thing that you can get from wherever to Heathrow in an hour
True.
or in like 20 minutes. It's just one of those things where it's like, there's just funny moments that aren't even related to sex either, that are just like
Yeah.
crying laughing kind
Yeah.
of stuff because also aside from just the story, like the three hosts, they've been friends since college, they have this like incredible like shorthand and banter, and they're
Mhm.
really funny in a way that only people can be funny,
Yeah.
because half the time they're insulting each other, but it's funny when British people do it. And they've known each other, so they know these stories about each other. They all know his dad already, and it's just like they know he's just mad, and so I don't know. I think that just adds this touch of like sweetness to it, and there is like a little bit of undercurrent of sweetness in the book.
Yeah.
Like it's so interesting to me. It's just yeah, it is even as ridiculous as it is, it can still be very like thoughtful.
Yeah. Well, they're all so kind to each other.
Mm.
Even like there's one scene that is like the grossest scene in I think the whole series, and it's she's comforting one of her like staff. I forget what his
Was
position
it
was. What's his name? Des? Des Martin?
Des
And
Martin?
and he's upset, so she like lets him like suck her boobs or
Oh,
something, and
I'm
he's like
sorry.
slobbering.
I
It's
can't.
so
I
I
can't
know
take
it
it.
is disgusting, but like she's just trying to be a good boss and comfort him because he's going through a hard time. I think he like broke up with his girlfriend or something, or was having trouble, and so she's like, "Oh, let me help you. You poor thing."
Or like
And it's
Jim
sweet.
Sterling and his penis surgery,
Yes. Always I
where like the
love
skin
that.
was like shedding off as she was giving him a blowjob, and then he had like blue jigs everywhere.
Oh my God, I forgot about that too. I think I blocked out a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It
Well, even like the zero judgment, because like in that early episode with the tombola in the maze and everything, there's the
mm,
character Giselle, who we find out suffers from, and I can't remember the name of it, alopecia.
yeah, with the hair,
She suffers from hair loss, but it's orgasm induced.
which also is not a thing that we know of.
But they're also like, oh, it's fine. You look lovely. Like it's,
Yeah.
it's like
But
good. You got an orgasm.
another one of the things that is so amazing about this podcast is the fan base, the Belinkers, because there is art of Giselle losing all of her hair while she orgasms.
Yeah.
Like you should go to their Instagram. It's my dad Rhoda,
Hmm.
or my dad wrote, and whatever, because they can't use porno.
Hmm.
But they have like a lot of the art posted and all kinds of stuff. It's super fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it was fun, like while it was airing, it was always like, oh, it's porno day.
Yeah.
And it was exciting. We
It
even
was
did a live
fun.
taping
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, like that's how
or a
big of
live, like
a
they
live
had a scene that they would
podcast.
just release.
Yeah, I think that's like speaks to how big of a cultural moment this is. It's
Mhm.
like it's up there with My Favorite Murder and like a lot of like these really like they did a whole tour in even in the United States. Like
Yeah.
that's how big it is. They're not just like big in England, they're big here. Um and we went it was pre-pandemic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like 2017, 2018, somewhere around
2017 is when we started listening.
listening. So 20 maybe 2018, 20 anyway. But I loved Alice's like chart of where of like the
Of
female
where things
anatomy.
are located.
Yeah, yeah.
There,
What they're called.
it reminds me of this TikTok, and it's this woman talking about like who is talking about 12 inches, and she brings out a measuring
Oh
tape
no.
and shows 12
Yeah.
inches, and she's
She
like,
was like,
who's taking that? Like
yeah,
she was before, like this is fine.
yeah.
Five, that's okay. Six,
Yeah.
too much. This is too almost too
She was
much.
like
12,
six. She's like,
you
this
are
is
killing
fabulous.
me.
Yeah. Six is like fabulous. Seven is like, it's too much. Eight's like, taking a sick day. Nine
Yeah.
is like, I'm in my next lifetime. Like,
You are impaling me. It's not functioning. No.
you really are in my ovaries.
And I'm dead.
I have died. That's how I felt when I was getting the IUD. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Gives me
guess
shivers
though,
thinking about it.
news uterus having people who want an IUD, they have the FDA, the AMA, some association has cleared the use of like anesthesia or something, like some has cleared something
Mhm.
for pain and
Mhm.
not having to suffer through feeling like someone's trying to stab you in the brain through,
Mhm.
your whole entire body.
Yeah. Well, and I
So
think like actively
finally,
recommending it.
yeah, I mean, and finally,
Yeah.
like, so I don't know.
It's
Because
more
we had this
traumatic than
conversation.
childbirth.
A
But
bunch of us
like,
had this conversation at work somewhere the other day, and it was like, finally,
yeah. Because
yeah.
like they prepare you for things like childbirth or even cramps. Like we talk about it, but like how did we all just like skip telling anybody that this is like one of the more painful procedures that you can have as a person with a uterus?
Because there is the mistaken belief that we can't feel it.
Mm. Yeah.
Then my doctor patted me on the hand and was like, "Oh, it's okay. I know you're crying. A lot of women cry." And I was like, "Why? Why is that
Patient, if
normal?
this is
Why is this
more
okay with
painful?
anyone?"
Yeah. Well, and it
Yeah.
reminds me, I think it was last season or maybe a couple seasons before, there was a podcast called Serial that I was listening to, and the season was about
Serial, I feel like was the podcast that made everyone into podcasts.
that's true. It really was. Because it was around that time that we were also listening to Serial because that was with the
Mhm.
Edna and Said case.
Yeah.
Um, and which I still follow to this day.
Yeah.
Well, to this
The
day.
poor
Last I
guy.
heard he was released. So,
Yeah.
finally.
It's wild. He's like my age.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I was like, oh, I just almost said like that poor kid, and then I was like, wait a minute, we're the same age.
Full adult.
Yeah.
But he was a kid when he went in.
Yeah, he was like 19,
Mhm.
18, 19.
Something like that. I mean, he was still in high school.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you don't know about that, listen. But there was one of the
I'll
later
listen to
seasons
Serial and then
was this case about these a fertility clinic. I think it was like Yale, not
I
Yale
don't know.
University or related to Yale, somewhere over there on the East Coast.
Hmm.
And all these women for like the egg retrieval, they were all saying that it was like so excruciatingly painful. And nobody would believe them because they're like, yeah, it can be uncomfortable, but like it's fine. Like you're over exaggerating. This isn't turned out that there was a nurse who had an addiction and she was stealing the pain medication and replacing it with saline. So they were undergoing this procedure with zero pain
I
medication.
remember that. I remember that.
But people don't
Also,
believe women when they say things are painful.
like, we need to talk about pain for
Yeah.
a second and like women, and especially Black women. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Because all of these medical myths still exist that like Black women, like Black people don't feel pain, and it just makes me bananas. But
Yeah.
like, we're not believed so much of the time
Yeah.
because most medical studies are done on men and never ever done on women. So heart attacks feel completely different in women than they do in
Mhm.
men. Also, like, can we talk about men's pain tolerance level versus women's? Like, what is a five for a man? You know what I mean? Because I guarantee you, a five for a man feels like a two for us, maybe a one. You know, like all those period simulation videos where like the men,
Those just
like
crack me
granted,
up.
it is different because it is an external force, like, but like that women are just like on like nine or 10, like, oh, that's all you got? Like, and then the men are like crying on three. Like, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
It's one that The Daily Show did. I think it was The Daily Show. It was at least one of the guys in the video is on The Daily Show. And and it's like kind of a spoof and kind of real. Like they all like have to use the like the cramps simulator for a day and see how it is. But this woman is controlling it, and she'll just like, and she starts, and because like the idea is like you never know when you're gonna get cramps.
Yeah.
Like happens when you're working, happens when you're eating, happens when you're sleeping, happens when you're like taking a
And
shower
when you're podcasting right now.
or that. So anyway, so she would just like creep up and be like, like turn it on. And he's like, oh. And so then like by the end of the day, he's like creeping around the stairs and like looking, and she'll be behind him. She's like, but yeah, anyway.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was a good. And I feel like we've talked about this in other episodes as well, just to bring it back to the podcast.
Yeah.
We've talked about this in other, it's like I grew up just with a very different experience with sex and like not, I wasn't comfortable talking about it. I was very shy. And like podcasts like this, I feel like do a really good job of like, okay, well, like I don't want to do all of that, but like I don't want anybody hitting my ovaries. But
Thank
like,
you.
but just having it be a more like comfortable thing to talk about. And I think
Hmm.
that's important for women too, because how else do we talk about what we want, what we need, what we don't want, and
Hmm.
what we're not okay with? And we don't,
Yeah.
if we don't have any frame of reference or any way to like verbalize it or just any sort of confidence in talking about it at all, you just get kind of stuck.
And that's like I think the beauty of the how ridiculous it is, right?
Mhm.
Because like you can start the conversation because it's hilarious and because
Yes.
it's like, oh my God, did you hear this random thing that's in this story or whatever?
Mhm.
Or like, oh my gosh, on this podcast, this is what they were talking about, and like this guy knows nothing, you know, like,
Yeah.
but then you can start actually talking about the real things, you know? And I think that's the beauty of humor too. It allows us to start talking about things that are really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and not just sex, but like sexuality. Because, like we said, like everybody is a little queer in it because there are there. I mean,
Yeah.
it's Belinda in particular. I mean, she is having sex with men, having sex with women, having sex with men and women together. I mean, having sex with people with blue jizz, like no holds barred.
So gross. That scene was so gross. Oh my God. And the mayonnaise one, when someone was like covered in mayonnaise and somebody licked it all off. Or it was like whipped cream or something, but it had been like they'd been out like in like in the heat or so. I don't remember
Something
what it
like
was, but it
that.
was
I
like
don't
just
remember.
so gross. And somebody did fan art for that, and like I couldn't even look at the fan art either. I just remember like heaving in my car, listening to. I was just like, oh no, I don't think I can do this. To
Oh
pull
man.
over. Yeah. Yeah. So many moments in there that are just wrong
Oh,
for so many reasons.
here's another great quote that's just tells give the visceral reaction that you have sometimes with these is Peter came and Belinda sucked up the hot, frothy white liquid. She adored the salt and it saved her from
Oh,
having to eat
oh,
any high
stop.
protein
I
peanuts.
can't. I can't take it. Ugh,
Oh man, no.
wild.
Oh,
Um, but I think one of the most signature things about Belinda, the Belinkers, the podcast, is the quote, her breasts hung like pomegranates.
yeah. The image of a pomegranate is like iconic.
Yeah,
Belinda. Every time I see a pomegranate, I think of
I
Belinda.
think that's all I think of now. Yeah.
I mean, and pomegranates are very Round. I would like my breasts to be pomegranate shaped.
A little spiky thing at the end?
Well, maybe they cut that part off. They weren't shaped like it. They hung like it. But how do they hang in
Oh,
a
I know.
tree? Do
I'm
they
kidding.
just, I don't know.
Well, it's just I feel like a pomegranate is awfully round to be bosom shaped.
That's true. You probably want like more of a pear shape, right?
Maybe.
Like if we're talking fruit.
Yeah. Hair.
Well, like teardrop shape is more natural,
Maybe. Yeah.
but not bumpy.
And
Bumpy,
not just like
you
a
probably
ball.
want to get a
Just
hook
like a
on it.
round like shape sticking out.
Well, maybe cut it in half and then, not totally bulbous.
Listen, he didn't say hung like pomegranate halves.
True story. True story.
Oh my gosh. On that note,
Yeah. They hung freely like pomegranates. That's the quote. I found the quote. We will put this in our show notes. It's a BuzzFeed article that I found, and it's the like 25 like best my dad wrote a porno. I mean, they were making BuzzFeed, so that tells you how popular it was. Not that BuzzFeed doesn't do some like
I mean, but BuzzFeed back then, well, I
yeah.
even then it was like maybe on its downward trajectory, but like
Yeah.
it was still pretty popular at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
There's one more that I'll link, and it's an article, and it's from Medium, and it's every single Belinda Blinked character ranked from best to worst.
It's the
Uh,
worst.
who's the worst?
I mean, hopefully Bish.
No, he made the top 10.
Okay, best character, sure.
Yeah.
Best person, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Belinda is obviously number one. Spoiler. Um, let's see. Bella made number three. Des Martin with the slobbery boobs, number four.
Stop.
Sorry.
Oh,
Bish
why is
was
he
five.
four?
Huh?
Why is he four?
Giselle was six, aka the special one. And
One
then
like Giselle Mars chocolate.
uh Giselle Marshackelweird de Klotz. I don't know how
Yes.
well I did that, but you'll be happy to know number seven was Toffee Apple Chew, who is a horse,
Yes.
by the way,
Yes. Who
stallion.
rode in and like saved the day for something? Was it after like the car accident? There was,
Bombing.
or after the explosion, right?
Yes, the
Yeah.
explosion. I
Toffee Apple
mean,
Chew.
yeah.
Toffee Apple Chew is the Duchess's horse.
Yes.
Toffee Apple Chew.
I haven't seen where there's a lot of characters that I just don't remember. Like Butch the sunburnt kid.
Wonder if that's from like the hen do.
Oh, maybe. Yes. Chiara Montague. I can't scroll up. You'll just have to. Whoever was the last was a character I didn't remember, so that's probably why they're last.
Or like the youngish man from reception, and then somebody else was described as oldish or
Mhm.
smallish,
Yeah.
or both. I mean, let's be real.
There's some really cool like cover art for the books now. It's good. It's funny. It's just funny. It's just it's a good thing to listen to if you just want something that is funny, unique, um,
Funny.
and something that is just it's so whimsical.
Yeah. It is really, I think it's weirdly sweet. It's weirdly
Right?
poignant. You know what I mean? Like there are these moments where you're just like, wait, what am I reading? Like, what am I listening to?
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, I didn't read them, so I should say, what am I hearing?
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, the podcast, I think, you know, the books are one thing and we could talk about the books on their own, but like the podcast too is I think it has that same feel of ridiculous, but poignant, but also fun.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And all of these things because like their friendship is
Hmm.
so also bananas. You know what I mean?
Well, and
Like,
Jamie's always telling stories about his childhood
oh my God.
too, and like they're all kind of
Yeah.
sharing things, but like
Some
you,
of his stories, I'm just like, wait, what
yeah,
did your parents like?
right. But I get the sense that, and he was a theater kid, and you get
It
the
had a
sense.
very, oh, sorry,
Oh, no, I was gonna say you get the sense that Rocky, and I assume his mom too, are just the kind of
Wilma.
parents that are just whatever your kid comes home and says they want to be, they want to do, they're like, okay,
I feel
let's
like
try.
they were very like avant-garde, bohemian kind of, like especially when they talk about how like his dad piled all six of them or whatever in the
Hmm.
station wagon, and Jamie was like, yeah, there'd be like a suitcase wall in between like all the seats, and like, just the way they would talk about growing up, and um yeah, it's super fun. And Jamie's stories are
Yeah,
wild.
you just get the sense that he always felt loved
Yeah.
and that his friends felt loved,
And
like
that they
by
played a lot on
Rocky.
the Sega.
Yeah. And maybe that's why I'm like, I so wanted to like talk about this one this season is we need more people like that right now. Is people that just make you feel loved and
And if you
accepted and welcomed.
and even if you don't live the same way that they do, that's fine. They
Yeah.
still love you. And like let's get back to that. Like where we just care about each other
Hmm.
more. We live in this like fractured time,
Hmm.
and it's just what happened to caring about other people even if you didn't
Right.
know them? Like what happened to that? Where do we go?
I mean,
Where
Belinda cares so much about people, she will just drop trout anywhere and make them feel
anywhere,
good.
anytime in someone's weird basement apartment.
You name it.
Yeah.
In the airplane, the
Yeah.
hidden airplane bedroom.
My yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Anyway,
Yeah,
a
no,
garden maze.
yeah.
But yeah,
On a work trip, no less.
no less. Well, all of her work trips were pretty scandalous.
I know, right? Did you have any
Anyway,
favorite scenes or quotes?
oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've listened.
No.
Like, I can't pinpoint like a favorite. I think one of my favorite things, though, is their Glee Team cheer, which I don't even remember,
Hmm.
but they talk about their six boobs. And they'll always talk about going to the Pentra for a G&T. And like, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't know that there's like a favorite scene or a favorite quote, but I think
Favorite vibe?
yeah. And I think the favorite vibe is like the Glee. My favorite vibe, my favorite group is like the Glee team and just like all
Yeah.
of their antics. I love them,
Yes.
even though it does slowly devolve for a while.
It does. They get it back in the
Yeah.
end.
Favorite character, like
Favorite
main
character?
character. Who was yours?
Probably the Duchess. I love well she, she didn't she like pour
The
tea
aside,
all over and like lick it off her too? Like
like Belinda aside, probably the
Linda said,
Duchess.
yes, Duchess.
Yeah.
100% the Duchess. And who was it that wanted to play her? He always asked this, they always asked the celebrities that would guest, who would you
Mm.
play in the movie? And it was, I can't remember her name. It's the one she played. She was in the new Star Wars movies. What is her name? Daisy. Daisy.
Daisy Ridley.
She was like, I think she's the one that said, I want to play the Duchess in prosthetics.
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, yes.
I mean, like this was huge. Like Daisy Ridley,
Right.
circa Star Wars coming out. Like it.
Hmm.
This was huge,
Yeah.
huge. I think
No.
like Elijah Wood was maybe their first guest.
Yeah. Didn't he want to play the smallish man?
Youngish man from
The youngish
Reception.
man from Reception. Yeah, that's who he
Yes,
wanted to play.
that's who he wanted to play. Wasn't there like a turkey sandwich?
Yes. Didn't they had turkey sandwiches after,
Yeah, yeah,
because you need sustenance after something like that. It was very
definitely,
vigorous.
definitely.
But yeah, no, and I don't think I had a favorite scene either, but I did love whenever they talked about his dad going to his little like hut house and drinking like Chilean
Mhm.
Chardonnay.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I really also liked there's after the whole thing has concluded, they do an interview with Rocky and it's really fun to like
Hmm.
hear him talking to all of them, because he's known them too since Jamie
Yeah.
was in college, so for, 20 years or so and
Hmm.
yeah.
And he never came on the show the whole
Yeah, the whole time
series.
he never came on the show
Hmm.
and his identity is still somewhat unknown, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I
Did
don't
you say
even
he would
realize
they
there's two.
they talked about how he would go to all the shows and Jamie was always like, I just want to say, like, Dad, no one knows what you look like anyway, but he'll come in like this weird disguise, and then of course everyone knows who he is
Because he's disguised.
because he's disguised.
Oh, I wish we could have met him when we went. He would have
I
been
know.
so wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah.
Well, anyway,
Hmm. Good times. Go watch it, listen,
yeah.
then come watch us, listen to
Come
us.
back up. Okay, yeah, then come back.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's it.
Yeah. It's hard to end these things, isn't it?
It is weirder when we're not in the same room.
Yeah.
I feel like it's harder to start and harder to end.
Yeah. We'll get our groove.
We will figure it out.
We'll find it. And maybe we'll record some
Yeah.
in person. We don't know yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we will. And we have stuff coming up together that,
Mhm. Yeah.
we'll be posting different content about
Hmm.
too,
Yeah.
hopefully, if we remember to actually
I just had to turn down an invitation because I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm already booked.
look at that.
Booked at the Irvine Improv.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, June is going to be busy
June is
for sure.
busy. July's a little more for now.
Hmm.
Now, see, now I'm going to be saying no to everything in June, and we'll do it in July then. And
And then July, you're going to be like, what happened?
I plan
Yeah.
on fitting as many beach days and pool days as I can all summer long. So
That'll be nice for you.
come join me. But all
All
right.
right.
Well, until next
Well,
time,
yeah, we'll see you then.
bye.